The reason that you're not rich yet has got nothing to do with how smart you are, and it's got nothing to do with how hard you work either. Now, from the day you were born, you've been programmed and continue to be programmed. Listen, no one sat you down and explained what was going on. It just went in. And today, we're going to start shaking up that program. Now listen up, here's what I've learned over the years of doing this and working on myself and clients all around the world. Your bank balance today is a reflection of what you've been programmed before the age of 10 years old. So you've been forming this program since before the age of 10. Think about that. All the information that was drummed into your mind, all the conversations that you heard growing up are now running your money as an adult. And here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you exactly where that programming came from. And I'll give you the phrases that are still running your bank account behind the scenes. And I bet you've heard at least 3 of them. And I'll tell you about my own script that my family gave me and how it nearly kept me poor for years. And I'll give you the 60-second test that shows you your own programming on the spot. And at the end, the exact sequence to start replacing it. That test is going to surprise you. Most people have never once seen their own programming out in the open. And in about 8 minutes, you will. When you were born, you came with a clean slate. You had no beliefs about money, what you can do, what you can't do, your self-worth, what was possible, what wasn't possible, and what you can and can't have. I want you to picture a brand new DVD, a blank DVD with nothing written on it. And for the first 10 years of your life, that DVD is recording every single conversation, every argument about bills, every sign at the checkouts, every face that your parents pulled when money came up. All of it, that was burnt onto the DVD. No filter, no fact check. Why? Because you were 6 years old and you didn't have the ability to do the fact check. Nobody did this on purpose. Your parents weren't there plotting against you to keep you broke. They did their best with what they knew at the time. And guess what? They did that from what they were taught by their parents. So this is generational. This goes back generations. And it's like a hand-me-down, passed from generation to generation. Just like that chicken casserole recipe was passed down from your grandma, the great-grandma, and it came down. And then what happened? School added its layer. You sit down, follow the rules, get a university degree, get into student debt, get a loan, get a safe job, work in that same job for like 45 years that you can't stand. What if one teacher sat you down and taught you how money actually works, how wealth actually accumulates, and how it's actually built? Did that ever happen? No, not once. You wonder why? Is there something else behind the scenes why they didn't tell us that? Listen, your neighborhood, your culture, the TV, all pouring into that DVD. And by the age of 10, that program is written, it's formed, and that DVD has been running your money game ever since. Every price that you've set, every price that you've raised, every discount that you asked for, every time you said, I can't afford this, everything that you've ever said, that DVD said it first. You just repeated it out loud. So let me show you what's actually written on there, because I promise you're going to recognize this. Every one of these statements that I'm about to say out loud went directly onto your DVD way before you're old enough to even argue, even question its validity. So why don't you see how many of these that you actually recognize? Let's start with the famous one. Money doesn't grow on trees. Well, what's it made out of? Oh, we can't afford that, Billy. Oh, do you think I'm made of money? Rich people are crooks. They must have done something to get this rich. Money can't buy happiness. Money is not everything. Don't be greedy. Be happy with what you've got. Over and over again, you hear these statements growing up from all sorts of people. Put it in the comments right now. Which one did you hear the most growing up? Because I read every single comment and I can already tell you the top 2. It's the trees and we can't afford it. Those are the 2 main ones that I heard. Here's the thing. These sound harmless. They seem like common beliefs and common sense. But as a kid's mind, the mind doesn't hear common sense. It doesn't know what common sense is. It hears commands. Money doesn't grow on trees. It becomes money is limited. There's never enough to go around. Hold on tight. Save for a rainy day. Rich people are crooks becomes, if I get rich, I'm a bad person. So I don't want to get rich. And 30 years later, there's a business owner sat right opposite me who can't raise their prices. So they think they've got a pricing problem, a client problem, or even a marketing problem. Guess what? They don't have any other problem apart from what was planted on their DVD. And that's the front cover that keeps on showing up. This is who you are. Is this making sense? Your bank account isn't showing you your ability, your talent, your experience. It's showing you what you're actually programmed onto your DVD. I know this because I lived it. Now let me tell you what was on the front cover of my DVD. In my house growing up, there was one path. Keep your head down, get a good education, get yourself a respectable job. That was my script. That script was my parents trying to protect me, and that was the only map they had. Now the problem was that map said nothing about wealth. It was a map for survival, not winning. Work long, work hard. Be grateful for what you've got. There's food on the table. I watch people I love follow that map their whole lives. working themselves into the ground for not very much. And my DVD recorded every day of that. But I started fighting this early because as a kid, I had this spark inside of me, inside the playground. I remember I was buying cigarette lights for $1 and selling them for free. And I remember feeling like, wow, I felt like I'd won the lottery. I'm actually making money. And something inside of me lit up and just showed me that there was another way. But guess what the script said about a kid like me? School told me straight. I remember my teacher telling me that, you know what, you never amount to anything. I was a dropout. My teachers were constantly on my case. Not one of them looked at me as the kid doing 300% profit margins in the playground, selling cigarette lighters, and saw a business owner. They saw a failure because my script only had one page. I was a naughty, disruptive kid, and I had no interest in school whatsoever. I wasn't very intellectual. And to be honest with you, for years, that script nearly won. It took over my entire life because when you're programmed, that's all you know. I'd make money, lose money. I'd jump from one business to the other. Always chasing, always ending up in the same freaking place. And every time it went wrong, you know what that voice inside said? You know what? You see, you ain't smart enough. Only smart people become successful. That voice was a program defining itself. And it cost me years and put me in $65,000 worth of debt. Before I finally figured out what the real problem actually was. It was my DVD playing constantly on replay. Want to see what's written on yours? It takes 60 seconds, so let's dive in. Here's a test. I'm going to give you 4 half-finished sentences, and you've got to finish each one. Now, here's the thing. The very first idea that comes into your mind, that's going to be the most truest answer, because it always is. So don't over-polish it, don't overthink about it. So are you ready to play the game? Let's see if you can get this right. Money is, rich people are, I could never do, you have to work. Now look at what you just said. If you finished a rich people sentence and it came back with something like rich people are greedy, rich people are just out for themselves, rich people are scum, then that's exactly what your program is. And that's exactly the program that's stopping you from becoming a rich person. Is it starting to make sense? Because sometimes we think that these things are just on the surface, but these are like your deep down subconscious beliefs, because you can never become someone that you resent. So you want proof of this? So let's see how accurate and strong this is. There was a lottery winner in the UK and he won 36 million and he lost every single penny of it. So how do you lose like 36 million? Look, I'll tell you how. The money changed, but the DVD was still the same. His program, his identity was still the same, and it's set to broke. So his mind went to work, spending wild decisions, trying to get rid of all the extra money that didn't fit inside of his like DVD. The outside world matched the inside that was set. 36 million gone, just like that. The man wasn't stupid. His DVD was set to broke, and that's what always wins. Now, this also happens with celebrities, like global superstars. Look at Mike Tyson, made like 400 or 500 million, broke. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens because of the program. Now, money obeys your programming. Now, this means that there's only one real move. Change what's on the DVD, and here's the sequence. 3 crucial steps. Step 1, awareness. Step 2, interruption. Step 3, replacement. In that order, right? So you can't skip step 1, awareness. Now for the next 7 days, catch your program talking. Every time one of those old phrases come to your mind or out your mouth or into your head, write it down. I can't afford this. Oh, money's tight right now. Word for word in a notebook. Don't try to fix anything just yet. Just get the program out onto the paper, piece of paper, so you can actually identify it and something to work with. This is where most people get it wrong. They just want to rush. Most people have never once read their own programming, and it's been running their whole life from behind the curtains. Step 2, interruption. You got to interrupt that thing, right? The moment you catch a phrase, you call it out loud. That's not mine. That's a program. That's it. Sounds simple, but that's the most powerful part. The second you name it, you split yourself from it. And number 3, replacement. You can't just delete the old DVD. You have to rewrite it. You have to rewrite a new story into that DVD. You do this with repetition. So you take the phrase that you caught the most, like money's hard to earn, and then you build its opposite. You say the opposite. For example, money's hard to earn. It doesn't grow on trees. You say, you know what? Money's surrounding me. Money's easy to earn. It's that simple, but you got to keep on repeating it to yourself over and over again. And here's the thing. When you do this with repetition, morning and night, you say it out loud every single day, the old program starts to fade away with the repetition and the new one overwrites it. Give it a week, not days. The old code took 10, 20, 30 years to install. And you can't just replace that fast, like within 48 hours. Awareness, interruption, replacement. That's the sequence. That took me from 65K of debt to now where I am. It's the same sequence that my clients use to break through their numbers they've been stuck at for years. And if you want me to walk you through the whole thing properly, step by step, I put together a 5-day challenge that does exactly that. There's a link in the description below, so go grab it. So listen, you didn't choose a program. It got installed when you're way too young to say no by people who meant well. That part isn't your fault, but by now you've seen it. You know that it's there, and you know how it works. You know the sequence to replace it. So from today, staying programmed, that is a choice. Now, you weren't put on this earth to run someone else's old code or program for the rest of your life, were you? So make a decision. Start the 7 days now. Go rewrite the thing, because like I tell my clients, go all out or go back to fucking bed. Now, if you got value from this video, you're gonna love this next one on the screen right here. So do me a favor, make sure that you hit subscribe, because there's a lot more from where this came from. And here's the thing, drop me a comment, tell me one belief that you're gonna delete off your DVD permanently today. And listen, I read every single comment, so I'll see you on the next video.